Hello, my friend. Welcome to the Believe You Are a Good Mom podcast. I'm Emily Wardrop from Drop the Word Life Coaching, where we help moms of young kids drop power struggle wars to create more peace in their parenting. Do you want to be a good mom? I will tell you the one simple secret of how to be a good mom. You already are. Don't believe me? You've come to the right place. I'm glad you're here. I've got you. Because when you truly believe you are a good mom, everything will change for you as you live into the truth of who you've always been. Let's get started. Good morning. Good morning. It feels like a long time since I've made you a solo episode, but I went back at the episodes and looked and I was like, yeah, it has been a while since there was a solo one. I've I've produced whatever it's called, uploaded whatever, all sorts of episodes with my amigos. Got lots of fun interviews up there. Went back to the last solo one and I was like, interesting. It was a week ago. Like normal podcasts do. This is what it feels like to do it once a week. It does feel like a long time. So once a week, huh? Anyway, that's just kind of the minimum baseline that's been set by, I don't know, example or by expert or whatever. By I can do whatever I want, clearly. And what I want is more than once a week up until now. And now maybe I could go to once a week. Maybe I could do every other week. Maybe I could do once a month. Like the whole point is that I can do whatever I want. And I will. And it's just interesting that it feels like it's been forever. And actually, it's like the quote unquote normal amount of time. Anyway, enough about that. Today, we're talking about time bending, which is funny that we started with something that has to do with time because our earthly mental construct of time, right, is just made up. So we are going to dig into that today. Time bending is one of the concepts that absolutely blew my mind, and I got the most traction thinking about things differently, and I don't think I've done a full episode focused on just this, so I'm really excited to share some thoughts about time bending. So what is time bending? What are you even talking about? So basically, all things are present before God, like we read that in the scriptures. So on earth right now, as mortals, we've got these mental constructs of past, present, future. Every Wednesday when I'm recording, I get this reminder to do my Wednesday email. I'm like, wait, no, I want to do a podcast right now, not the email. I'll get to the email later. So make sure you go to droptheword.com/www to sign up for Wednesday Wisdom with Emily Wardrop. So you got the www on both sides. And so that you can see these fun emails that come out every week. Okay. So all things are present before God. For us, there are things that are present and past and future. But for God, everything's present. And that's why Jesus can be so chill, walking on the earth, healing people here and there, doing whatever, preaching this or that. Like he's not in some panicked, rushed, freaked out mode that everyone's got to learn this. Everybody's got to know this. Everybody's got to get healed. Everybody's got to believe in me. Everything. Like he has the most perfect eternal perspective that he can just know that everyone's on their own journeys. Everyone's doing their thing and learning things in his divine algorithm, that everything is working out perfectly. And it doesn't add up in our mortal minds and our mortal algorithms, even if we can make it as confusing as possible. And there's super geniuses on the earth that understand those human algorithms. There's still a divine algorithm going. And he knows that for every person, they've got their own algorithm and that it's all good. He can have the calm assurance of that, right? So he can be relaxed, he can be chill. And that's the difference between us and him, right? And so because we're so preoccupied with what's going on in the present, we're so, bent out of shape about what happened in the past. We're so guilty and shame and all the things about the past. And then we're all worried and anxious about the future. Right? Depression is living in the past. Anxiety is living in the future. The present, right? The gurus, they're all coming to this, right? The meditation and the getting present, right? It's a big thing right now, which I think is awesome because it is a big thing. It is quite the solution. So, because if you're depressed because you're focused on the past or anxious because you're focused on the future, then yeah, let's get present. But the magic is in knowing that it's all present. Everything is present before God. So God can see the beginning from the end and see um, an eternal perspective, right? And know of our eternal potential. So we're not Jesus, right? We have heavenly parents and our spirits are eternal. He was unique in that his flesh was half eternal also. So we are 100% mortal, but our spirits are 100% divine. And so we can tap into that also the way he did, but he had it like magnified, right? So, but he showed the example of what is possible for us, even if we're not, the DNA is not calculated exactly the same. We do still have heavenly parents, and our spirits have always existed. So our spirits are present unto God. It's not past, present, and future. They've always existed, and they will always exist. And we did need this mortal time for learning and growth and development. And we needed the veil of forgetfulness. We need to have faith. We need to live in faith and hope and trust, right? But we forget that. And we get bogged down by the cares of this world, right? So one of the ways that I have found that helps me the most in being who I've always been, right, is to remember this time bending idea. So if I've always been good, my spirit was 100% worthy, right, valuable, whatever. That didn't change just from coming to this earth life and forgetting that, right? So part of the point of this life is to try to remember who we are, and we have glimpses here and there by our desires. Okay. So what we want, we have yearnings for, we can feel these desires are telling us who we've always been. That there are guideposts to figure out who we were, to remember who we were and live into that. Because we always have been and we still are. We just forgot. And so we can, how you do certain things and you just feel alive because it's like your spirit is finally aligned with your body, and this is what I'm here for, right? You just feel it. And so those are our breadcrumbs to follow to figure out who we are. So our desires lead us to who we are. Another thing that helps us know who we've always been is guilt. So guilt is not bad. Guilt is just an indicator that we're doing something in contrary to who we actually are. So it gives us a clue of who we are because we just did something that's not us, right? And so, like when your kids like lose their minds and do something crazy and you're like, dude, that's not you. Like, you're a nice person. Why are you being crazy? And we do the same thing, right? We are good. And sometimes we do things that are not good. And it's good to feel guilty about that because it shows us that we are good. It is an indicator that we are good and that we did something out of whack. And then we know it's even more evidence to the story that we are good, that we feel bad about doing bad. Does that make sense? So I love guilt in healthy amounts to remind us of who we are and to get back into alignment. Okay. So our desires tell us who we are. Guilt can give us clues. We can feel who we really are, right? We feel bad if we did something that's out of alignment. We feel amazing when we do things that are in alignment. Our feelings are little guideposts along the way because our bodies were so important. The reason we came to this earth is this growth and development comes from that key component that we didn't have before, was our body. And our bodies are where our emotions are felt. And so all of the emotions are indicators of growth and learning and things that we can deduce. So here's the thing about time bending. Okay, so we are Here's the thing. Okay, so this came up in an RBC the other day. I'm doing these free relationship boost calls. So go to droptheword.com/appointments to sign up for one because they're amazing. And if you are a coach, don't think you don't need an RBC, because I've done RBCs with many coaches. I was doing one with a coach the other day who, the funny thing about coaching coaches is that we're so good at coaching ourselves, right? And we're like, oh, I shouldn't have any problems with relationships because I'm a coach. Yeah, right. Right. It's kind of funny to say it out loud, because somehow we like expect that because we're a coach, we're not human anymore and we don't need help with anything. So yeah, it's nice to be able to coach ourselves. That's great, to have a coach at our disposal in our head at all times, but it's still our own head. And so there's always going to be blind spots. So it's so fun coaching coaches and to help them see things that they're not seeing, because I'm sitting there watching them, in their same old self-coaching ruts. Like they're like, yeah, I've already worked on this thought. Yeah, I've already, and I'm like, yeah, but here's something else, that because we're just used to thinking things the way that we're used to thinking them, right? So it's funny because a lot of coaches start coaching coaches because it's an easy sell, because coaches know how important coaching is, right? But at the same time, we also have a layer of, well, I should be able to do this. I shouldn't need somebody else to point this stuff out to me. Anyway, so one of the things that this particular coach was doing was she was saying, yeah, so I did my best, I guess. She's like basically saying that we were working on this guilt thing, right? So she felt some guilt that she wasn't showing up the way that she wanted to in this relationship. And so she was trying to give herself grace with that. Like, yeah, I did the best I could and I can always do better. I'm like, yeah, but how does that thought feel? So here's the thing about time bending that I just love. And when I explained this to her, it clicked, and that was the difference. Okay. So I really want everyone to hear me. When you're comparing yourself to your past self or to your future self, you've missed the point. The point is that your past self, your present self, and your future self is all you. You already are your future self. It's who you are. You're not your past mistakes. That's just what you were doing in that moment. Okay. Your future self that you think is so perfect and is so perfect at showing up the way you want to show up, being the mom you want to be, whatever. That future self is you. And she's going to make mistakes too. And there's going to still be a future self for her. Like, this mental construct is a treadmill. I'm telling you, if you're trying to reach some destination to believe that you're good, you're never going to get there. It is a treadmill. You've got to believe in your eternal being, your divine self, that you already are good. Because you are. We just forgot. So when we remember, we know that because we're eternal beings, we are good. And we are mortals, so we're going to do things that aren't good. And that doesn't change the fact that we are good eternal beings. Okay? So you do not need to beat yourself up for stuff that happened in the past. I'm trying to read this note and I can't tell what that word says. So we don't beat ourselves up. Oh, comparing ourselves to our future selves, right? I'm not like, I know that the mom I want to be doesn't do this. And I know that someday my future self, I'll have this figured out. You don't need to beat yourself up where you are in the present, that you're not quite to your future self. You don't need yourself up to beat yourself up in the past. We don't need to be limited by our past accomplishments or mistakes. If it's like, well, I've only been able to do this in the past, or I did do this in the past, so I should be able to do it now, or I messed up on that, so I'm a terrible person. I'm a terrible mom because I did so and so. All of these things are unnecessary, not helpful, not useful, and time bending can erase them all, in my experience. That's been the key. So you're not your past, you're not your future, you just are who you are. All things are present before God. He doesn't see the mistakes of the past or the successes of the future. He just sees you for who you are. And when we get glimpses of that, just seeing ourselves for who we really are, it's the secret sauce magic key. Okay. So if she's feeling guilty about not showing up as the kind of person that she wants to be in that relationship, then great. You know that that is who you actually are. And when you believe that's who you are, then you come from a much more useful thought feeling combination into who you want to be in the future versus, yeah, I did the best I could and there's always room for improvement and sludging to your future self. But your future self is you. If you can just imagine that you can time bend the way God does. Okay. So I did what I did. I want to do what I want to do. And I'm in the middle. It's all just circumstantial. It's all neutral. You do what you did. Yeah, you have desires to change and you're at where you're at. But so what? Like, if all of that's just neutral, then what do you want to do? Who do you want to be today? The only control we have is today. There's no use being depressed about the past or anxious about the future. Just today. Who do you want to be today? What do you want to do? How do you want to think? How do you want to feel? How do you want to show up? Who do you want to be today? Because it's who you already are, always have been. Okay, so now what? I can do and be anything in the present I already eternally am. Does that make sense? So I kind of ran through all of that pretty quick. Feeling the pressure because I can hear my husband out there coming down. I think. Let's see. So there's this quote by Joe Dispenza that says, it's time to stop being defined by the story of our past and start being defined by the vision of our future. And I'd like to take it one step further. You don't have to be defined by either. You're defined by your eternal self. It's not the story of the past or the vision of the future. It's just who you actually are. And if the past and the future and the present are all one, then what? Then just go be her. So believe you are a good mom because you always have been. You always will be. You'll show up aligned with her in glimpses, okay? Because we're always going to be mortals. Like I'm working on this fear thing right now and I'm like, okay, I'm not afraid anymore. Well, I'm still going to feel fear. Okay. It's nice to be healed of the fear and I'm still immortal, right? So it's kind of weird to be an immortal stuck in a mortal sphere right now. And so it's always going to be a little jiggy. So we've always got to have that grace for our humanness and the faith in our eternalness. Time bending. It's really fun. If you want to work on it with me, I'm one Zoom call away. You can always sign up for free RBC and we can do the relationship boost call, or we can talk about anything in this podcast that's kind of jiggy in your brain and you need to talk it out. I would love to. Anytime we can turn this one-sided conversation into a two-sided conversation, I'm down. I love getting my chat on with people. It's my jam. So dropthewar.com/appointments and let's apply this directly to you because it's all just in theory, right? When you're hearing it on the podcast. And then when you go to try to apply it, you're like, wait, what? Wait, but what did she say? And I don't think that applies to me. Let's chat. Okay. Talk to you later, guys. Bye. Thanks for listening. Make sure you share, rate, review, all the fun things so that more people can get the message that they are a good mom. The world must know. Hi, thanks so much for listening. Have you signed up for your RBC yet? What is an RBC? Well, it's a relationship boost call, and I am gifting 365 of these for free this year. So go to dropthewar.com/appointments to find a time that works for both of us. We'll hop on Zoom for a quick 15 to 20 minutes, and all you got to do is have somebody in mind that you want to improve your relationship with. It's fun, it's easy, it's a good time. You're going to feel amazing afterwards. And no strings attached. Just come on, have a great free coaching call, and then go on your way. And you can come back for as many as you need because we know it's no one and done around here with relationships. So go to dropthewar.com/appointments to find a time that works for both of us. And let's get boosting those relationships. See you there. Bye.